Hi everyone, Brett Beck, Altitude Scale Modeling. Today we start the build review of the B-25HK models, B-25J 1/48 scale. To begin with, I'll be using real color paints. Got them all out and ready to go. Enjoy these paints. They're good for airbrushing and hand brushing. And they got some metallic colors that are the AK regular range. I'm not going to be using. I'll be using the Vallejo metal colors. They're good for hand brushing and airbrushing as well, and they're acrylic. Okay. PE. I have used Mr. Metal Primer on it. I've already brushed it on there. It's dry, so I can paint the PE. Generally, it keeps the paint from cracking. So I'll be doing that. Tamiya extra thin, pretty much. Like I said, a combination of airbrushing and hand brushing, just to get it all done. So, one more thing. This is one of those things that people argue about one way or the other, but anyway, I primered all the small parts on the sprue, since I'll be doing some hand painting. And I wanted the primer on there and dry. It's been drying for a couple of days. No need to show that on camera. Just all the small parts, not the fuselage parts, because the fuselage parts I'll primer and paint up when it's put together. So, we are going to start here with the bomb sight. Now, the floor is aluminum, and I'm going to hand paint the floor, which is this part right here. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll cut off the other parts. I'm going to hand paint pretty much all of these parts. So, zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to paint that on the sprue too, which is going to, cause one or two people to cry foul. Let me get some little cups out here. So the floor is A, and A is aluminum. Give it a good shake, make sure it's all, you can see the bubbles on the bottom, it's all shook up. I put a glass bead in there. Help it mix up. And I'm going to use one of my longer brushes. So I can get this. Seems pretty thin. Maybe I thin this. Let's find out. And it's going to take a couple of coats. So we're at that level out and dry. Nothing else in that part needs to be aluminum. Floor of right here. This part needs to be aluminum, and this part needs to be F, which is dull dark green. So we're going to do that as well. Well, we've got it on the brush and got it here. And if I get it on the parts that need to be green, I'll just paint over with the green. And this is screwing with the white balance, so you can't really see how well it is, and you can see that it's going to need a second coat once it dries. We're going to leave it like that for now, because looking ahead, Those are the only ones that need to be silver at this point, or sorry, aluminum. A quick clean of the brush. I like to keep these alcohol wipes handy, just for a quick wipe off of the brush, not a deep clean, but just enough to keep it clean. Okay, so I'm going to cut off E48, E55, E47. Get my trusty display nippers. .47. .48. And 55. I hold it because I don't want it flying across the room. These things cut very nicely, so there's usually not a good sprue nib to worry about. A little one there. So I'm going to put this together and then paint it once it's together. So this mounts on here. And for some things on this build, I'll be using the Revel Contactus cement because I like it a lot. Flow in. And this. Let's see. Looks like this. Okay. I believe this is where they rest their chin when they're looking through the bomb sight. Fits nice. Test fit. Fill a little slot. Okay, I'm going to let the glue dry on all this before I paint it. I am going to paint the seat belts right now, which is B. B is RC259. Dark olive drab. Sorry, you're going to get a glare on there. Like I said, this primer generally makes it so when you bend the parts around, the paint doesn't flake off. We'll see how true that is on camera once it dries. I like using these tank rafts with the hole because the paint bottles fit in there perfectly. I gave it a good shake. And different paintbrush for this. Find the one I want. There we go. You get a nice coat on there, and you don't have to be neat because you're going to cut them out. And you're going to want to paint the buckle silver. And I do like to paint both sides because sometimes you can see the underneath side. Being that Tammy's Real Colors is a hybrid lacquer, dries pretty quick. Now I do have some pictures of the interior of the B-25 that is in the Strategic Air Command Museum in Omaha that I took a few years ago. That I will post up. I'm using those as reference. Not 100%, but there. Well, you can see with the glare, but that dry. We'll cut those out. All right. So, if I remembered, you just got to look at the pictures of the B-25 in, like I said, Omaha, Nebraska. For those of you not familiar with where Omaha is in the U.S. Clean this brush a little bit. Next, I'm going to put the seat together. 60, 61, and 25. There's two of them. Oops. Forgot one point. Okay, and then 60 and 61. These are kind of thin looking ones, so cut them gently. So I like these single-sided nippers. So I'll put 60 up here. Because these aren't gonna, due to the plastic, what the double-sided ones would do. Okay, 61. Do a little cleanup. And these you can go right in and generally get right up next to it, and if not, you just give them a swipe with a sander, which I have right here. And yes, it'll take the primer off a little bit, not enough to matter. And clean up 60. 61. Again, there's not a lot to clean up because the nippers do a good job. Sprue cutters, whatever you want to call them. 60, 61. Got my magic eyes. Mama said, these are my magic eyes. So they just get glued in here, here, here. There's tabs for that. Here and here and here and here. And you want to make sure you're doing it on the right side. So 60 goes on the right. Just like so. Make sure they're straight. These are what's going to hold the seat into the floor. One thing I did notice, I didn't get this tip top part needs to come off. I didn't clean these up very well. Here we go. That was a little too much glue. Don't let it get on your fingers. A little bit fiddly. Just set it in place. Let it dry a little bit and then straighten it out. You'll be just fine. Just like that. You can sit down like that. That'll help keep it straight. 61, we're going to make sure that top is off. All right. And same thing. Touch, touch. There we go. It was much easier once you did it than how I did it the first time. Set that down there. Make sure it's straight. Because I moved it, so. All right. And same thing for the other one. 60 goes on this side. Should have thought about that in the first time. Tweezers are your friend. So, those are ready. This is all dry. Spot there I want to clean up. And there. Okay, now L is 262, interior green. There's a lot of interior green inside of this, the Bombay, the walls of the cockpit you'll see, or you saw from the pictures. So the whole shaft part is interior green. Help if just take a shot, huh? And I do like hand painting from time to time. Airbrushing just gives me better coverage, I've found. Alright, let that sit there and dry. The walls and stuff I will be airbrushing with the interior green. I need a smaller brush. What's B? B is dark olive drab 259, which is also, no, the seats are not B. Seats are a different color olive drab. Don't need that yet. Check out these floors. They're ready for another coat. Got my trash can down right at my feet. Okay. They don't look too bad, but I want to give them another coat. Get rid of some of the brush strokes. got a pooling in it that I want to clean up. So those will level out nicely. I put my towel, there it is. Okay. These have dried nicely straight. And the seats get painted dull dark green 230. You see in the pictures I posted, there's a cushion in the seats. I believe that's where the parachute went. That's why the seats are that way. So I'm not going to have a cushion in them. I'm going to leave them empty. Of course, I'll weather them up and everything. Let it dry. So I can paint the back. Alright, let that dry. So we'll let everything dry and we'll come back and do some assembly. Okay, the seats are dry, belts are dry. I'm going to do some PE belts. Okay, I've already cut most of them out. For me, cutting out PE, I use a number 15 Swan Morton blade because I like this rounded and I can rock it back and forth if I need to. Just got a piece of black acrylic here. Just going to go through and click it all off. Okay. So the belts are in 3 sections. You've got to slide through the buckle on one, bend it over and hold it down, then slide through these two buckles here, bend it down. So you've got one piece that goes on the seat. So now this is the buckle side. I don't know whether you can see, but there's a slot in the top. This is the other side. It's got a little end that slides through that buckle side. Now you want to make sure you're doing it the right way, because I don't need this here anymore. Because there's a buckle there, and because you got 2 slide through connections, you don't want to flip them around. And it'll go through easily enough. As long as you don't do that and drop it. Patience. And then bend this over so it grips. There you go. Now these two, the bottom, are going to go into the 2 that are on There. I find it's easier to try and have these, so you can slide them both in together. Make sure there's no paint clogging it up either. And there is. So take the knife and clean that out. Pick this up again. I know this is not the easiest or the best way to do PE seat belts. So they're both in there. I'm going to fold them over. There you go. So it's all put together. Okay. Now you're going to put it, loop the top part over, glue it back there, and you're going to loop these over the sides there. I'm using my Display Super Glue Holder and VMS Flexi Glue right now. Put some on there. I'm going to take a seat. It doesn't show you exactly where it goes, just that it goes, so I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to find my tweezers. Take my seat belt, stick it on there. I'll hold that and make sure it dries in place because you got to fold this over. Fold it over. And when you do that, you realize there is a place it's good to go. It does need to be farther down. So, try this again. You see some of the paint is coming off because I'm using metal tweezers, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I actually do have some soft tip tweezers. Okay, try this again. One of them came loose. Like that. That around, that around. Push them down. So. And you see, you're going to break the ends of those off. So there's no point even trying to do it that way. Because honestly, the other one, I did break completely apart. So I would just not even put them together. I'd lay the belts the way you want to do it. How you would naturally lay them. And you have to touch them up with the paint again because, like I said, I'm using these tweezers. And I take this one, and I'm just gonna lay it over the top of those. You're also gonna have to paint the buckles. To dry a little bit. Fold them over. So, as I said, this one, when I was doing this off camera, broke completely apart. All the little legs except that one came apart. So what I'm going to do with this one is what I should have done with the other one. I'm going to put this then where thing go? Lay this one across the top of it, which is how it would have been if it would have been buckled together. Hold that for a minute, let it dry. Fold these over. Some glue on the back side of that one. Do these one at a time. Let it bite. I really like this VMS glue. It bites really well. Got to get glue on it for it to work though. And yep, you're going to see this build go warts and all. I'm not going to edit any of this stuff out. And no, I don't blame Hong Kong models for those, the way the PE went, because PE, by its very nature, can only take a couple of folds before it starts falling apart. So that's not HK Model's fault. It's my fault for the way I did it. Yes, they could have done a different way of doing the seatbelts. But again, if I'd have followed instructions and done it right, wouldn't have been an issue. Okay, that's in there. Wrap that around, wrap that around. Okay, seat belts are in. I gotta do the buckles, a little touch-up painting. I gotta glue these sides down, which I will. And the seats are ready to go. I also, while we were away, glued in the bomb sight. Finished painting it. This is keyed, so it can only go in one way, so you can't screw it up. So there's that. Looking good. Once it's weathered, it won't be so brightly colored, but you are going to weather it up. Okay, so that's done. Seats are done. Next step, you need to drill a hole in here. Paint your instrument panel black, which I'm going to airbrush. I'm going to airbrush the back of this. Drill that hole. And we'll get going. Gotta paint up all the yolks and everything. And as you can see by the pictures I posted, what they look like. So there you have it. That's what's next. But first, I am going to touch up painting on the seat belts. Alright, so the seats are dry. I touched them up. Colored in the belts. Sorry, touched up the belts. Colored in the buckles. We'll get a nice wash and weathering on there. It won't be so shiny. Now, for those of you wondering, you see me use my display thing, hey, clean it up. Well, if you don't know, the best way to clean up super glue is to burn it off. Just don't breathe it in. It's all clean. And I always like to scrape off too. So it's all clean, ready for next use. I think we're gonna end this video here. We got the seats done, we got the bomb sight done. Next will be the cockpit, the instrument panels, the control sticks, some of the bulkheads, bombs. We are here and here done. We'll work on this part next time. This part I may do just put the bombs together off camera, just because you've seen bombs glued together before. So, thanks for watching my build review, and I hope you're enjoying how this kit's going together. Obviously those seat belts are a little fiddly. We could have done without that, but we are going straight out of the box.